G'day, it's Danny, and today I want to share with you this great little exercise that I give to my guitar students to help them with their chords. Now there's two problems that I regularly find people have with their chords. In fact, it doesn't have to be a beginner. People from many degrees of experience may have these problems. One is not being accurate enough with the right hand and hitting more strings than is strictly necessary for that chord. So let's take a D chord. Sounds great, like that. If we play it like this, it just sounds like a bit of a rumble. So any of those chords that use less strings, like that F chord that we all start out learning. 4 strings, lovely. Now it sounds like a David Bowie intro. So that's number one. Number two is, of course, changing chords, and everybody's always looking for a way to be able to change chords quicker and avoid having that open string beat at the end of every bar. So this exercise is very short and brief, and it aims to address both of those things, as well as a couple of other tricks along the way. It starts off with a D chord shape, and we're hitting the 4 strings, 4 bottom strings. Then all we do is move first finger up 1 string, stays in the same fret, and we hit 5 strings. Beautiful sounding chord, right? That's an A13. That's a really handy chord. That's another one of the tricks you're going to learn along the way. That is a fantastic sounding chord in a lot of songs that are in the key of D and need an A chord. One finger, but 4 strings, 5 strings. We move it up one more time. Now we've got an E minor 9. There's a couple of things going on here that address both of our issues. These 2 fingers are what I call anchors. They are anchoring my hand in position so that I'm not flailing about with all my fingers trying, what do I do next? Which finger do I move first? I've got 2 in position so I can just develop a bit of independence, moving 1 up and down. Right hand is aiming for 4 strings, 5 strings, 6 strings, 5 strings. You notice I'm not looking at them, so that's why that by itself is a great little thing to practice, as well as sounding quite lovely. Okay, that's how our exercise begins. After doing that a couple of times, we go D, G, C add 9. Now, don't switch off. I know you all know this trick already, so I'm not here to show you this one. We all know the one about anchoring our pinky and our 3rd finger down here on the D and G on the 3rd fret to smooth out that transition between a G chord and a C chord. The C becomes a C add 9. Done beautifully by Pink Floyd all over Wish You Were Here, and ripped off beautifully by Noel Gallagher of Oasis in Wonderwall. You know that one and you love it and it's easy, but you all hate B7, right? What a prick of a chord. But have a look at this. There's 1 finger difference in those 2 chords. Here's our C add 9 that we can all do. Obviously I'm sliding it back 1 fret to get a B chord, but all I'm doing is lifting up that 3rd finger 1 string, still in the 2nd fret. There's a B7. It's not as hard a chord as you thought it was. Oh, that's 4 fingers, that's really hard. Well, this one's 4 fingers and it's almost identical. Now, there's not many songs that go C to B7, so we're not going to go back and forth. It's probably not much use to us. Okay, we're on a B7. Now we're going to introduce another anchor. My 2nd finger here is going to become my anchor to change to an E chord. So, B7, E. I remember learning E, A and B7 to play 12-bar blues, and I struggled so much. They just seemed too different to me, those shapes. But really they're not. If you look at that E chord, this finger doesn't move. This one goes up 1, this one comes down 1. It's like those 2 fingers are swapping strings. They're staying in their frets, one goes up, one comes down. And of course we add the pinky for the B7. The next line of this exercise goes E to A major 7. Very commonly heard together. And look what's going on here. My 1st finger is now the anchor. 1st finger doesn't move. These 2 are just dragging down across the strings. This one's only got to move down 1 string and this one's got to move 2. So simple. So this line goes E, A major 7, E, now this finger's the anchor, B7, E, A major 7, E, swap anchor, B7. So we do that a couple of times. Now we're going to add some 7th chords and transition through a few keys. So E to E7, just removing the 3rd finger there. A major 7, so we kept our 1st finger anchor. Lose it. Now we're going to a D7, which we don't have an anchor finger, but look at this. These 2 fingers are in the right frets and adjacent to the right string. So they've just got to flop down, pop down, drag down to the next string, and then we put our 1st finger on. So the A7 to the D7. That's what we're aiming for here, not... Okay. Next chord is a D7 sus4 or a D11. And the reason I wanted to use that transition is because I want you to play your G chord with 2, 3, 4, leaving your 1st finger swinging in the breeze. So it's a normal garden variety G, 1st position G, but using 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. The reason I want you to do that is because now we can play a C chord much more easily. See, to change to the C chord, I'm not removing this G note because both C and G chords have a G note in them. So we don't have to take that off. We don't have to do anything. That can be an anchor. There's our G. These 2 fingers, diagonally adjacent, just need to drag down a string each for the C chord, and we put our 1st finger on right where it's hanging about there. G, C. So simple. Now I'm going to go down one more. And notice what else is going on here. 6 strings, 5 strings, 6 strings, 5 strings, 6, 5, 4. Now that chord is a form of an F chord, but I'm still hanging on to this G note on top. So it's an F add 9. Now the next line introduces another little bit of strumming precision. The entire line is played on the 4 middle strings. We don't want our E strings involved. So we play C, but only 4 notes. Then F, like that. So this is like a cheats version of an F. If you can't get your 1st finger to do that, and you can't get your 1st finger to do that, this is a wonderful replacement. Technically speaking, it's an F over C, F/C, but well, who cares? It works great. And have a look at how closely related to the C chord it is. Our 1st and 3rd fingers are both anchors. 2nd finger drops down 1 string. Pinky pops in underneath on the 3rd fret underneath our 3rd finger. Next chord in this line is a C7, and with this one we're going to do like we did with the E and B7. We're going to move this finger up a string and this one down a string. So it's that subtle little change. So we've got C, F, C7, F, C, F, C7. And I'm carefully strumming the middle 4 strings. But that's not all I'm doing, because there's a couple of insurance policies that go on as well. So with this C chord, I've got my thumb just hanging over the top of the neck there, muting that E string. It's not holding it down, it's just touching it. So that if I accidentally do strum the top string, it doesn't give us a note. And at the bottom, my 1st finger, which is curled around there, is muting that E string. So I can strum all 6 if I really wanted to. Similarly, the edge of my 3rd finger can be pressing slightly against the E string there, so that it's muted even if I can't reach my thumb up there. So again, I can strum 6 strings and only hear 4 of them if I want. Now for our finale, I want to unlock some of the mysteries of the rest of this neck. You know, we all learn these first position chords, but we can go C, move it up 2 frets. Now look, I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4 notes up. That was C there, so it's probably D here, right? But we've got this open G string in between. Well, it actually sounds pretty cool. So the G note is the 4th note of a D scale, so that's called a D add 4. Let's go up 1 more fret. Oh, that one sounds perfectly fine. That's an E flat chord. So that's one of those chords that pop up in a song you want to play and you go, oh, well, there's no way I can play an E flat chord. I can't do that and I can't do that and I can't do that. But I can play a C chord and move it up 3 frets. Again, I'm using the edge of my 3rd finger here to mute that top string so I don't get, because that's not good. Let's move it up 2 more frets. Still sounds really nice. That's an F chord with a G in it, which is the 2nd, so it's an F add 2. Move it up 2 more. Sounds perfect again. That's just a G chord. So yes, C moved up to the 8th fret is G. So all together, our little practice piece of music sounds like this. There you go. Beautiful. Just a few bars that'll give you a few clever, cheeky little techniques. It's all about developing a little bit of finger independence. In other words, the ability to move 1 or 2 fingers at a time while you've got other fingers pinned down or anchored in position. And at the same time, we're being careful to hit the right strings so that it all sounds lovely. Go on, give us a like. Give us a like and a comment.